What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Behind the Blowhole. It's an exciting day. I'm very tired today. I was up last night pretty late receiving my anniversary gift.
All right.
Yeah.
I know what it is, too. I'm listening.
Happy anniversary, honey. She's over there in the Bill Clinton chair.
In the building.
Hi, honey. Happy anniversary.
It's so awkward to look at you knowing you just gave him a gift.
She has the ruby earrings I got her, and she got me 48 Cadbury eggs. That's what I got.
Really?
Cadbury eggs are the best.
I love Cadbury eggs.
I never can find them, though.
You can get them this time of year? I thought they were seasonal.
She found them.
Wow.
I overpaid for them.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I love
They're the
them.
best.
But all right, you know what? Yeah, enough of my wife. But thanks. It was fun last night.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is exciting. I'm really pumped.
I'm
Tom
pumped.
Kelly,
I'm excited to be here.
comedian.
Yes.
A comedian. Because
A real one. Not like us. No.
right.
I'm kidding.
Well, because listen, I mean, we've spoke about it many times.
Right.
This was my dream when I was a kid.
And I could see that for you.
Was to do I wanted to write for SNL.
Okay, mine too.
Really?
And I failed at that and then became a comedian on my own. Yeah.
Well, how the hell did you get into it?
So, I mean, the short story is, first, thank you guys for having me. I've
course.
been
Thanks
down.
for coming to our little.
I've been down this weird rabbit hole of stalking you guys since Wednesday. I don't even know how. I know you know. I don't know if he knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, and I realized there were questions I probably should have asked off air about what magically brought me to this blowhole on the day you got blown. Happy anniversary. Do you have to wait another year? Is it like 364 days till the next gift?
No, April for my birthday. I get 2 a year.
Okay.
2 a year.
2 a year. 2 gifts a year.
2 gifts a year.
Wow.
Yeah. So the story on me was I was in high school. I wanted to be the guy who was on TV. Then I realized I looked in the mirror. That was not going to happen. And I wanted to write for other people like Saturday Night Live, write for Letterman and whatnot. And I worked for Rosie O'Donnell, another Long Island legend, blah, blah, blah. I worked at her show. And then one day she said, yeah, I want to end the show. And she stopped, and I could not find work. And it was right after 9/11 as the business was getting smaller. There were no TV shows in New York. And I started doing my own stand-up because I wanted to write for myself. That was my thing, was if I'm performing and creating, someone will see me and say, oh, he can write for me, whatever. And anyway, speed through the story. I was doing a bunch of, stand-up gigs, but stand-up was kind of flat. And then I started doing things on YouTube just as things were going to happen. As YouTube was starting, and this is like 06 or so, I was doing a web TV show at a mermaid theme park in Florida, where I was...
Anything, wow.
Yeah, it's called Weeki Wachee Springs, and the gimmick was I was trying to be their first guy mermaid. If it was the day of TikTok, I'd be famous off of this. I would have been famous off of this.
I've heard of that place before.
Yeah, it's cute. Yeah. It's got in many ways, it was the stress of me getting a show going there is probably the pressures you're dealing with here, running a business and being funny and doing a podcast. Because then they would have these things like, well, we can't do that. It'll annoy the neighbors. Right. Yeah. No, we can't do that. You're inappropriate. That's a little too inappropriate. So I was it was a little too safe, blah, blah, blah. But here I was creating down in Florida, doing a web TV show about quitting comedy. And then I got a phone call from Rosie O'Donnell's office saying she had recommended me to work at the TV show The View when she was going there in 2006. And I see your face already. It was a different show back then, though, too.
I'm just wondering if they haven't killed themselves after this last week or not.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't watched any TV. Actually, did Trump win? That's how in the hole I am right now.
Well,
I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody about that stuff anymore because there's just no...
Doesn't work out good.
It doesn't work out good.
Yeah.
But here's one nice thing you could say about the liberals. They helped me move out of my mom's house.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. And it worked out in my favor in that I started doing warm-up for a bunch of TV shows. I met your best friend Blake working at Good Morning America. And yeah, over the years, I've worked at Good Morning America, The View, America's Got Talent. I have my own podcast, The Tom Kelly Show. And then lately, I've become big on Instagram for making fun of Long Island, which is part of why I love what you guys are doing here. Because it's you. Like, I feel like you are bigger in Northport than News 12.
Is that fair? It's easy to make fun of Long Island if you've grown up in Long Island.
It
so
is,
easy.
but with all jokes in comedy, it's hard to be original and make fun of it.
Right.
Like, it's easy to say, listen, you want to make a Long Island joke, hey, you get a pizza or a bagel, hey!
Right, or North Shore pretentious and easy sluts on the South Shore.
Yeah, and trust me, they're not that easy. I've done my best. And we've worked very hard, and no, not nearly as easy as you would think, or I'm that off. But or like God, like, and so I've done a lot of the easy jokes, and that's frustrating with my Instagram success. So like my Instagram following has doubled this year. Tom Kelly Show, if you're listening on the Blowhole thing.
Love that.
And what happened was I took a clip from my podcast, also Tom Kelly Show. Thank you, people. Plugs in. But what was funny was I took this clip from my podcast making fun of the 6 neighborhoods in Massapequa.
Right.
And I was drunk on the podcast. My best friend was across like you, refusing to be on camera. I was wearing a V-neck tee, showing my grandpa chest hair, whatever.
Excellent.
And I just ranked the 5 or 6 Massapequa neighborhoods. It's like, all right, well, Harbor Green thinks they're better than, whatever it was. I had it memorized. I hit it quick, cut it together. I took that clip, and suddenly now I'm the hottest comedian in the Long Island Moms group on Facebook.
That's fantastic.
Oh, I love
I've
that.
made it.
Yes.
I am famous south of the Southern State Parkway, east of the 135, west of 110, all the way down to the Great South Bay.
Well, listen,
it's
hard to
Via
break
the
into
moms.
those Facebook mom groups. They fucking usually
They rip you
well,
apart usually.
and they're easy to lose. Like actually, so then through that, someone found a bit I did. I have a really funny stand-up bit. Where I'm in the Massapequa Moms group, which is the most powerful. I don't know if it's like this up here in Northport, but it is the most.
We have a mom. Yep, we have
Are you a
Huntington
mom?
Moms. I'm not a mom.
Are you in the Moms group?
I'm
though?
in the Moms group.
My
You need to
wife's
be
in the moms
You have to be in the Moms group.
Are you in the Moms group?
You have
Okay,
to
but
be.
there's no microphone over there, so there's no point in me kissing your butt. You're just here to babysit.
She's here to make sure I don't say anything inappropriate.
I love it. Is there a buzzer or something? Is there a bell?
The dog collar soon, so.
Oh
Yep.
my God! Again with the dog collar.
She actually fucking smacked
love it.
me in the fucking head last night.
Fantastic.
During your birthday
Yeah.
gift, because some people like that.
Yeah.
Right after?
No, we
Happy
were.
birthday!
Yeah, happy birthday. Smack.
We were here last night. My father's band was playing, and a resting bitch face waitress. What's her name?
Whatever her name is.
Ellie
Okay.
was here, and they were like, "We want to come on the podcast because you always shit on us about the clothes."
The waitress says this.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I said, well, you can come on the podcast and shit on me. And my wife smacked me in the head because I was like, hold on a second. This isn't some German piss pooping ponies fucking porn shit. I was just kind of like talking about like, you could give
You
it back
can
to
rag on me.
But she hit me so hard, man. It was ringing in my ear.
What?
Yes, it was ringing.
Do you want to come in and share the microphone? Because I want to hear, why are you abusing your husband on that one? Because I've listened to the show. There's a lot of times where you should have hit him and didn't, and that's where you hit him?
He's forgetting to sit there and say how he told her that, what was it? I love you to shit on me? Or what did you,
Shit on me.
Wait, get in the mic. Wait, you need to talk into a microphone.
So
don't
the way you said
Come on
it, you
over,
said
honey.
shit up on me instead of.
And I love it. I think he ended it with like, and I love it. So,
I meant.
Oh, you ended it.
I
shit on me. I love being shat on.
No, that's not what I meant. It doesn't matter. Anyway,
We don't know.
But you meant
We're
it in
unsure.
a figurative sense.
Yeah, it's like, payback could be a bitch. Like, I deserve it. Like, if
I deserve a verbal lashing when you say shit on. A
Exactly.
verbal lashing. Not a...
Not a shitted on.
Yeah, not a... Actually, is that even a golden shower? A rusty water golden shower?
Golden
Is there even a word for that?
I actually got peed on my bachelor party.
Okay.
Yeah.
By who?
That's
I don't
wrong.
remember. I was shit-faced. They put a rubber apron on me,
Yeah.
and they peed on me in our living room, actually.
That is
That was
like
pretty cool.
not. Oh,
No, I don't think I was ever. It's funny, like listening to now, I guess, all the shows since May, because I've been driving around this weekend. I don't think I was ever manly enough or bro-ish enough, whatever the word is, to hang out with you in your prime. I'm pretty sure of that.
Oh, come
I don't
on,
think
I
I would have
would've
been a good
loved
guest at your bachelor party.
he
would've
was
been-
like hugging trees and stuff. Trust me, I'm sure you guys would have fit in.
Yeah?
Yeah, he was like loving trees and whatever
Nice.
the weird
No,
shit.
or
it
you had
said.
crazy times, but here you are in a business in a nice like polo sweater, blah blah blah, and someone peed on you in your shower, and you tell people that story, and you're
I
at
have no
your party.
shame. I have
No
no shame
shame.
at all.
So now is this waitress coming to the show now, or is she coming, or
No, I think we need to set it up, though. I think that'd be
She's
fun.
funny. Yeah, no.
She is very funny. She always looks angry. I think my question is because I grew up listening to, like, Mel Brooks. I mean, he is, like, the creme de la creme of, like, comedy, as far as I'm concerned. I think, like, History of the World is, like, probably one of the greatest. Dom DeLuise, shit like that. And comedy, to me, is just about, there's no judgment. It's like you're poking fun at anything, everything, anybody, and yourself. And the whole point is to try and get a rise out of somebody. That's my position from it. But in today's world, not so easy.
Yeah. See, I don't think it's about getting a rise out of someone. And that's the...
Well, that's where... So you got to educate me. Like, it's going to be challenging.
Well, I think it goes to all things. Why are you doing it? And for me, at the end of the day, why am I doing comedy? I want money. I want to bang hot women. That's at the end of the day. That was my why. If I'm being real,
well, that makes sense.
I wanted to silence all the people who said I couldn't do it. All the guys who called me nerd, who now call me old and bald. That's why I do it.
Right. That's fair.
I try to silence my inner voices with the affection of others. That's my real why. But at the end of the day, too, I do it to make money. Like we talk about free speech, right? It's really free market free speech. You know, like, listen, if you want to be an artist, listen, Lenny Bruce, the comedian's comedian, the first real comedian's comedian, he died alone in a gutter in the village somewhere. Now, he was telling the truth. He was challenging authority. I mean, that's a real effing comic, but nobody really paid him that much money.
Right.
You know, so if you want to be an artist, listen, you keep talking about wanting attention. You want attention, take your pants off, burn the business down. You'll be on Newsday tomorrow. The video will go viral. Now,
you're certainly getting close to that, right, honey?
But will that attention make you money is the whole thing. And I think there's also something to be said about free speech and what people are willing to hear. There's 3 types of laughs when you go for any type of humor. There is the shock. There's like, hey, and then she took a shit on me. You know, that's shocking. Then there is the approval. I voted for the candidate you like. Yay! And then the clever one is the twist, where you come up with something that they didn't think was coming. I took a shit on the candidate you voted for, and that's awful. But that's not right. But you get what I'm saying. So I don't know, when you come to like and the best piece of advice I ever got from Whoopi Goldberg. I was in trouble at a different TV show once. I had said to a woman in the audience, she was being an a-hole. She was refusing to sit down. And half of what I did at Good Morning America was crowd control. And this woman was standing up and walking around, and she happened to be wearing a Dukes of Hazzard t-shirt on January 15th. And I look at the woman, I'm like, lady, you got to sit down. And by the way, nothing says I have no taste like wearing a General Lee t-shirt on Martin Luther King's birthday. Now, that might be the smartest thing I ever said. One, January 15th is really Martin Luther King's birthday. So how impressive white guy knows that? Take that great. White privilege. What else did I know? And then also I put it all together. Little did I know she was a Big Shots friend at the show. And I was ready. I was still working at The View and Good Morning America at that point, and I knew I ticked the person off, and I left Good Morning America, went over to The View studio, and I happened to bump into Whoopi, and I'm like, I'm going to quit the show. I'm a comedian. I don't care. And her line was, she thought about it, and she goes, well, Tom, were you saying it to be funny, or were you saying it to be mean? And I'm like, I was saying it to be funny. She's like, no, you told me the person wasn't listening to you. You had an hour to make that joke before the person was being mean to you. You said it to be mean. And I thought about it, and that's something I go with now. When you tell a joke, are you saying it to be funny? Are you saying it to tell a truth? Are you telling it to make the world better? Or are you just being mean?
So let me ask you this one. If you're saying something, even though it might be rough around the edges, if you're doing it with the intention to grab a laugh, even though if it backfires, that's all right.
See, no.
That's okay.
I think, listen, and there's morsels of it in what you guys do here of what's your truth. If you're going to be a comedian, like you're just going for cheap laughs, that's not comedy. That's going for cheap laughs. That's being funny. That's different. If you want to be a comedian, and if this is a comedy show, is there a truth to it? And I'll argue as a guy now who might be your biggest fan. No, but there's a truth to this place, whereas you're a working man who's had a lot of struggles since COVID, and you're trying to make the best of it while managing a group of whack jobs in a wacky town.
Absolutely.
Yeah, wow, that's exactly what this is.
That is the truth.
Now, anything that goes against that truth, is it going for a cheap laugh, or is it telling the truth of your story? And I always say, if it's offensive in the pursuit of telling your story, that's different.
interesting that he brings up, and,
Yeah, wow.
and I would say, so you're an artist, clearly. And when
Aspirationally, but yeah, I'll go for the cheap laughs myself. I'm not better than you.
when you write comedy in general, or it's like you look at like the entire portfolio of our season, all of our episodes. I try and create diversity. Like sometimes it's just boring and we just want to talk about business, and that's part of the truth. Sometimes we want to zap Steve's nuts with the dog collar shocker. Sometimes we want to have Jorge karaoke, and sometimes I want to do a solo thing and just talk about how challenging it is. And I think the diversity and range is what the show is meant to be about, because it's anything and everything of just what's real, right? And there's humor in that.
There is. Now, and I just, when you tell that story, and it's just, I'm so glad I'm here for the shows where your wife is babysitting you now. You have to remember too, what's your ultimate why? And without knowing you that well, Sosh, I think your why is making money and feeding your kids and maybe living a good life. And maybe paying for the good people, taking care of your best employees. There's a humanity to you. You have references, blah, blah, blah. But I think at the end of the day, in a good way, you want to make money and bring people to eat food at your restaurant. That's why this podcast is going to take off. This is the future of show business. See, the problem with me being a comedian on my little podcast, how am I making money? You're bringing people back to the restaurant. You're hoping to also garner other things for the restaurant. Maybe you're a good thing for the town and you get your permits approved. Which
Stay tuned.
Dun, dun, dun.
no, but you also don't want to like I forget what offensive joke I told once, and one of my best friend goes, Tom, it's hard to believe you're in the business of making people like you, like I have a funny clip that I may or may not post on my Instagram where it was a crowd work piece, but there was a heavy Hispanic cop in the crowd, and he goes, I'm a police officer, and no one clapped. And I just said, listen, no one's clapping for the cops. That's why Trump won. Now, it came out, I think, a little bit funnier on the thing, but now you're going to get into it. If I post that on Instagram, my liberal fan base is going to be mad that I'm this. And then even my cop fans, is it pro-cop enough? And now you get into, and then at the end of the day, when you post anything out to the world, are you doing this? How is this making you money, or how does this relate back to your why? How does that? And listen, I did not expect this office to be so nice. I didn't expect you to have a branding business sign when I came in the door.
Well, marketing is facade. I mean, the truth of the matter is, I really should just have should be like a tapestry of the Grateful Dead that I like.
Well, that's what I expected coming in. I did not expect this to be whites and pastels. There's a neon sign.
There is.
It's like, what influencer helped you decorate this place? There's pictures of your children. I pictured honestly, I thought there'd be vibrators somewhere around here. Actually, I was promised butthole plugs of some sort, right? Butt plugs.
There is a 12-inch black dildo in this.
Okay, I knew it was coming.
Somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere in there. But
unsure where.
But and that's because we started this show with Steve.
So I've been doing these videos on Instagram about towns on Long Island.
Right.
And I happen to be
funny shit.
I happen to be walking around Huntington, and this guy comes up and says, hey, are you that guy? Didn't actually know my name, but he called me that guy, and that guy's close enough. I'm happy to be that guy.
Yeah, I'll be that guy.
And what a magnetic, charming, and kind man in a moment where I needed to pick me up, okay? I think this is a reality show. You guys I think you're on the brink of selling this to somebody.
We are in talks.
There you go. And you did not tell me that ahead of time. You have the vibe. Your YouTube is promising. But will A&E, and this is where you got to figure out with what the edging. That's why I'm glad your wife is here, because you got to be careful with some things that when you're a comedian, bringing it back to what you were saying before, is you have to make people want to give you money. You have to make people want to watch you next time. So like sometimes I'll say things like I had one down the road, straight down the middle political post about maybe we all have to get along politically, which I really think we do, unless we're going to go to civil war, you're smart, I'm smart, you're smart. But there are people right out there on both sides a little too friggin' mad about this. And there's a bunch of other people a little too effing happy about this, where it's creepy for me to even talk out loud. I've never been afraid of talking in public before. Right. I went straight down the middle. I lost one friend who's like, How could you even say we should talk to them, Tom? Now this is from the left, and she's like, I thought you were a nice person. I thought you were this. And to be fair, I understand it. If you're of a certain ethnicity, if you are trans, you may not feel like Donald Trump. My problem with Trump was he failed to manage. He failed to bring us together. I had hope for him in 2016. I really thought he would. I thought he was going to manage us and charm us like he did on The Apprentice. He missed the mark on that. That much I'm sure of, because I really thought he was going to lay on the good-looking guy charm. Put that in your pocket for a second. I lost a couple of very liberal friends or fans, like, you're an awful human being, blah, blah, blah. And I also lost the most MAGA person I know, who I really was, she wouldn't get the vaccine, but also believes crystals cured COVID. Anyway, but she was really hot, and I was willing to yes her to death. I was willing to believe anything. I was willing to pretend. Yes. Again, to your point of free speech, listen, right now, I would wear a red hat and put a damn crystal around my neck for one night of passion with her. But I lost her. She blocked me and everything, and then sent me a bunch of text messages explaining why she blocked me, which I'm like, well, you didn't have to block me. You could have just said that there and then blocked me. Yeah. But what do you know? And anyway.
My question is this one. Now, if you are poking fun, like I'm half Jewish, so I want to, let's say, have a Jewish joke. I mean,
some people don't know you're
could be
Jewish.
Like, well, I'm half a Jew, and then you rattle off a Jew joke, and it's kind of fair game, right?
It is.
Not if you want a TV show.
It's not what you say. It's not why you say it. It's how it's taken. End of speech. Listen, my name is Tom Kelly. I'm half Sicilian. I did a great joke where I used a phrase, Italian douchebag from Howard Beach. I was born and raised in Marine Park until I moved to Massapequa. Italian douchebag is a great phrase of the 80s. I was getting my free speech policed by a guy in the Bronx who has Trump posters all over his Facebook, threatening to kill me. And I'm like, this is a guy who's supported the free speech candidate while policing my speech. This is the guy who hates political correctness while telling me to be politically correct about what he wants. And the reason why I say that is, in that one sentence, you don't know, like, you don't have time to say, well, I was half Jewish. My mother is the daughter of a woman who survived the Holocaust. You don't have time to give him your whole resume for a Jewish joke.
Right.
It's how you take it.
Yeah.
Is it such a bad thing, though, to get press and publicity, even from the haters?
It isn't until it is, or it is until it isn't. Donald Trump ran for president, and with haters fueling him. You should watch the first half of the movie The Apprentice. It gets a little hard to watch at a certain point, and you'll figure it out. But the first half is about his rise to power.
Right.
And how he played the real estate game, how he was a good-looking, charming guy, but then also would call Koch a jerk. And listen, you're right. Donald Trump is much smarter than you and I. But he rode the wave. Are you? Listen, how do you shift the hate, man? Again, it's all, at the end of the day, it's getting what you want out of people, whether it be a kind smile, a laugh, millions of dollars, permitting deals, what you don't want. If you tell a Jewish joke as a Jew, in this very tumultuous time, if there's 5 super Jewish guys on the whatever, the committee, the town board.
Is there any Jews down there?
I'm not sure, but cancel culture.
Listen, I'll give you a reverse cancel culture. I was on The View, and they would let me be on TV and be me, especially in their prime in the 2000s. And I went on to do...
That's great shit.
Well, no, it used to be like a little bit of politics and then a lot of living. But now the world wants politics. Politics is rating higher. They just know. Right. But anyway, they would give me... The segment was called It's a Moment with Tom. And I did a video of me doing hack Irish St. Patrick's Day jokes. It was, everyone was so drunk. Lindsay Lohan was the grand marshal at a parade, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we got 8 complaints at the switchboard, and they all came from my father's Irish cousin.
Oh, my God.
And she's like, he knows better. He's a good boy. He shouldn't be saying stuff like that. But the point is, even Irish people, I think at the end of the day it's a joke, but some people don't want to hear it anymore. And also it's been done. A lot of it's been done. Like, listen, I did, like, even making fun of me for a minute. Irish people get drunk has been done a billion times. Like they'll say, who's the next Don Rickles? Well, Don Rickles has been dead for 10 years.
Right.
No, he actually given him some credit, man. His problem is he keeps stepping on himself.
Adolf Rickles over there.
Adolf Rickles. Well, I don't know.
Rickles.
He didn't go quite that bad. So with me, but he would he would be funny. Ooh, that's racist. I can't use that clip. Like he has a great clip that I want to air and it may air yet of it's a good steak place in Huntington when everyone says you got to go there for the sushi.
I can't.
Fucked up.
And but we need, it's funny. We need either the best comedians know how to police themselves just enough, and that comes with time and practice.
It's got to be. So I would imagine. So now, when you get up and you actually do a set, like you go to Governors or something like that, right? And you've been at it for many years.
Many years.
When you first started, I imagine first off, it's got to be tremendously scary.
Oh my God, I'd be horrified.
It is and it isn't. I'll give you I'm actually in the scariest stage of my career now. When I started, I'd go to New York City. Nobody knew me. And if you did well, you did well. And if you tanked, you tanked. And honestly, I've made a good living in not being on TV. And having nobody know who I am. My mother was a school administrator without getting into her career. My father's a very proper firefighter. Like he's the straight edge, could have been chief of the department type. Mm-hmm. They're Catholic. My dad goes to church 3 times a week because he thinks Sunday is not enough. One of those guys. Okay. So I just kind of performed with nobody in the family was allowed to know what I was doing. And I made a good living.
I kind of like that, though.
And then pandemic came, I lost all my warm-up work, and I started over again, and I started doing jokes. And I always never did jokes in Nassau County or Suffolk County because I didn't want to go into my family, and I didn't want to hear about it. And anyway, big ending is I'm more afraid now because I have to hear about it from people I love. I love performing for a room full of strangers. So stand-up itself is easy. What you're doing is you're performing for the neighborhood. And now what I'm doing now is performing for the neighborhood. I did actually a funny joke. I'm not going to say who I voted for, but I'll tell you off mic later. But I did a joke, which was the truth. I got assaulted by a Trump supporter in New York City. I did it on TikTok. I told the story. Long story short, there was a Trump guy on Fifth Avenue zigzagging. And I tried to pass him. He slammed into my car. He was on a bicycle and he fell off the bicycle and I laughed at him. And,
oh my God. Oh my God.
And he goes, "What are you, a Democrat?"
Oh my God.
And I'm like, actually I am, but I'm not sure who I'm voting for yet. I said something like that and kept driving. What do you know? And the guy was older than we are, skinnier than me. I'm in so much traffic. He gets on his bike, manages to catch up to me by the 66th Street Transverse, and starts kicking the side of my Jeep.
Jesus.
And I tell the story, and I'm like, and that's why I'm voting for Kamala, was the punchline. Well, what do you know? My nephew then sends it to his mother, who sends it to my brother, and the nephew's now crying. I might be voting for Kamala.
Oh my God.
And it's just like, first of all, this is why you don't let anybody under 16 on TikTok. Second of all, nobody should be this passionate about any damn candidate at this point.
Yeah,
and whatever it is, but I have to deal with it. If I tell a joke about Massapequa, my parents live there. So that's where I get nervous because
And Massapequa is so easy to make fun of.
It is.
Come on.
But I took a 5-minute answer to tell you this, which is it's harder when it's real and close to home, but you get more success and reaction when it's closer to home.
So with that being said, do you find that authenticity is one of the keys to success, really?
You have to know how to fake authenticity.
It's a fair statement.
And that's a very, or you have to be authentic enough. Like a friend of mine, my podcast right now is too authentic. My podcast will put you to sleep sometimes. And then some days it's brilliant. And the clips do well. But a friend of mine had a line, "Tom, it's a podcast, not a confessional."
Yeah, that's so
and
nice.
Even right now, me talking to you, I'm always afraid of getting Shane Gillis, which Shane Gillis, you know the story. He had done a podcast just like this, did Asian sound effects long after he should have known they were politically incorrect. Even the liberals were being attacked by that. Rosie O'Donnell famously was banned by the Asian community for a year for doing the same voices Shane Gillis was doing. They were even attacking the left on it, and he did it a year or two after that. And speak through the story for the guy, he got his dream job of Saturday Night Live and got fired before his first day.
Oh, that's right.
Because someone found a clip of it. Yep. Now, it's a happy ending story that he's now way more successful than me and on Saturday Night Live, but that took 5 years.
Wow.
You know, and frankly, a lot more strength than I have. That man worked his way to the top, got knocked down, and then had to rebuild to the top and then some. So you have to be careful of putting out nuggets, so you want to, we're in the business of making people like us. We're in the business of getting money from people. Now, if you can do that with enough authenticity, but not so much, like I have jokes about liking tall girls right now. My stand-up joke is I tend to date taller, athletic women who are questioning their sexuality. And usually after 3 dates with me, they have their answers. And I go down a little bit
funny.
It's a very funny joke. But now you get into
the problem.
Well, the problem is, and then I'll go down to the point where I'll almost date trans, where I'll date someone with an X chromosome but not a penis. But no, nothing.
No,
okay.
I guess no.
Okay, gotcha. How am I doing? Do you want to poke me at any point? No, and then and the thing, the joke works where I am not. And the joke is I'm willing to date a trans woman, but so long as they're hot and I'm shallow, and you can't cancel someone who's shallow. Now, I'm afraid of putting that on the TikTok because I can't deal with my nephew sending it to my sister-in-law, sending it to my brother, telling my mother, and just it being so have you dated someone with a penis? What do you mean? It's a fucking joke. But you have to be careful what you put out. You have to be willing to live with what you put out.
I guess that's why right now.
Actually, that's the smart thing I said. Let me repeat it so I remember it later. You have to live with what you put out. And if you put out everything all at once, if you put out more than you mean to, it may come back and get you.
Well, we've certainly had some blowback here at the blowhole, and I guess that's why it's important at this point to have my wife here. She wanted me to really cancel this fucking podcast. I said no.
Well, has it made you money? Why are you doing it?
Well, it's some, yes, a little bit.
What has it made you? Like, for real? I've listened to your arguments. Again, I'm saying this as a friend, as a guy who may want to be your co-host next week.
I want to say $20,000, $30,000 or so in sponsorship has come in our first year.
Mental health.
But it's,
I like that.
It's, I want to say we laid the track down for a prototype in what I think is the future of many industries. I think so. I think it's fairly innovative for our industry.
It is, and it is. The future of show business is. It's going to be real estate agents doing stand-up. And it is. It's going to be people who have a high return on their own business. So long as YouTube keeps putting things out without affecting you, and so long as the podcast algorithm doesn't screw with things. Now, Instagram, it gives and it takes. But listen, the most successful comedian in Massapequa right now is a guy who's trying to open a pizzeria. Taglio. You follow him.
I've heard of him. No, my friend sent me him.
Yeah, he's one of those. He's one of those Food Network guys who opened a great pizza place in Mineola, and now he's moved, and he walks around with a spatula with a little microphone on the end of it, interviewing people. Whatever the gimmick is.
That's funny.
I'm like, no, it's funny. I went to college for that. I don't need the pizza guy doing this crap.
Like, what the fuck?
No, my biggest competition is hot chicks shaking their asses.
Yeah, it's working around. Yeah. Oh, you can. You can't compete with those.
You can't compete with that.
No.
So, and again, but when you put stuff out there, it comes back to you. So, like, you asked about the tall girl joke there. Why am I afraid of putting it out there? Because the next time I hook up with a girl who's 6'5", if she looks at the clip, she's going to go, wait, you've dated other 6'5" girls? Is this some sort of fetish? What's wrong with you?
I have one for you.
Or she may think that she's
open up the Instagram.
I've got one for you. Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying. But the thing is, and bringing it back to the point of how do you make money off this? If the one person I'm trying to have sex with is offended by my joke and she no longer wants to have sex with me, that joke sucks. And it changed sex to money, and that's show business.
It's an interesting perspective.
And the other interesting perspective where if I were your producer and your long-term friend is you do genuinely want to be careful of recording lots of stuff that can be used against you in trial down the road.
Are you like another medium that we're meeting here or something? I'm confused.
Wait, what's that?
Are you like a medium?
Like a psychic?
Like a psychic medium?
You put out stuff about the gas not being on. If their business ever accidentally burns down, the insurance agency is going to use that as a reason to not give you your insurance check.
Yeah, it's...
Damn.
It's certainly unfair about just being honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like to lie. I like to just say it.
But there's a difference between... So, and again, this is the advice I've gotten in the last 3 years.
All right.
Except you're more successful with it than I. Is I've had someone say, hey, Tom... Like, I have a list of things I want to talk about celebrities who pissed me off and stuff like that. And you got to be careful if it, that you don't piss off the person who's hiring. Actually, I'll give you a good story about things coming back to bite you. So I have a friend who's gotten me a lot of high-end warm-up work. He hires me for game shows and stuff. Like I'll work at the $100,000 Pyramid with Michael Strahan. And the guy who manages that, when he works at other shows, he tries to hire me. And he gives me a call and he's like, hey, Tom, I have a $50,000 1-hour job. And then he goes, we need somebody funnier than you. Can you hook me up with a Jim Gaffigan type or an agent? And I'm like, and I hooked him up with an agent friend. What do you know? The budget went. And the gig was to work with the Prince and Princess of Wales. Okay. And they were doing a show up in Boston. Then he gives me a call. Hey, Tom, the job pays $20,000 now. I'm going to put your name in on it. That's awesome. Then he calls me back and says, bad news, Tom. They checked your Twitter. Kensington Palace did some research on you. And apparently you made anti-royal tweets in 2011.
Wow. But they will do it.
Hang on. And then I looked, and the job was paying $20,000 at this point. And I looked and I made a lot of royal wedding jokes. They weren't even bad ones. They weren't even the ones about Harry and this. But they were afraid that I'd be doing warm up or whatever I was doing and start making fun of them. So I cleaned up my Twitter. And what do you know? The budget went down to $5,000 for the gig. And my buddy goes, they're willing to talk to you. But when it was a high-paying job, they're like, we can just afford someone else who's never made these jokes. I have a friend of mine, a friend of Blake's at Good Morning America, tells me to watch out. She said to me once, Tom, if you make Mariah Carey jokes, Mariah Carey may not want you to be her opening act one day, and I'm going to not be able to hire you. So, like, I'm in this weird spot right now where I have nothing to get canceled from, but I also don't know what's coming in the future. So I'm trying to create my art balancing those things. How do I create edgy art while not getting future Tom canceled? You know? I don't know if I just made this way too boring. Am I being boring?
I just wanted to add Mariah Carey went to my high school. And one time I almost beat up Lindsay Lohan at the movie theater. So two people you've brought up,
why am I rambling and not listening to your story?
You almost beat up Lindsay Lohan?
I need to know this Lindsay Lohan story.
Yes, I did.
Okay, what happened with you and Lindsay Lohan?
During like the Parent Trap days.
So when she was young, adorable, and sober, you beat her up. You're the bad guy.
Pretty much. She lived in Cold Spring Harbor, and she was at the movie theater, right? So I asked her if she knew somebody, because my friend's like, she knows my cousin. I go and ask her, she goes, how would I know her? And being a little bad bitch, I was like, oh, yeah? And I like went to attack her, and it was this whole big thing.
Hang on for a second. You beat up Lindsay Lohan for not knowing your cousin.
For not knowing my friend's cousin, evidently, but being a bitch.
Cousin.
But being a bitch to me. The way she said it, I was like, you're not going to say it like that, though. And then I didn't touch her, but I went after her. They pulled me away. And then maybe like a few months later, I saw her walking like out of a store in the mall. And me and her like had eye contact and just walked away. So she definitely knows who I am, though. Maybe. Like, oh, it's the girl who was like kicked my ass like when we were 12.
So how long have you been doing your podcast for?
So I've been doing my podcast was a pandemic gift. It's really me. It's a podcast about me figuring out how to do a podcast, which has sort of become that thing. It's about me getting back to having fun is the one sentence pitch. But sometimes then I'll ramble about comedy or politics and whatnot. I have a core group of listeners. I tend to do very well with women who want me to date their daughters, but would not have dated me themselves if they were younger and still single. Yeah, that's my audience. That's my audience.
And as far as your stand-up goes, how often do you do
Not
it?
Enough. So being blunt. See you? My dates are at TomKellyShow.com. The calendar is very light right now, and we're getting back to the basics of my Instagram is what I'm working hardest on right now because I'm kind of inspired by your solo podcast where you talked about generating attention and then take that attention and take it somewhere. So right now I'm doing lots of 15-second clips.
Well, I mean, you're doing very well with it.
Yeah,
I
you
am.
are.
I'm growing.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about my following that I'm learning is they're populated in one spot. And like the interesting challenge or the interesting reward about being like, I had 15,000 followers before the pandemic from the TV shows. It was all people who love to see me next to celebrities. They love to see me working with people with more money than you and I. And they were around the country. My next 15 to 20,000 are really in South Nassau. And it's fun to be out and have someone go, hey, I watch your stuff in front of my mom and dad. And then I have to explain what Instagram is.
Oh, God,
You know,
yeah.
like actually, listen, my
It takes
greatest
several hours.
accomplishment in life is keeping my mother off of Facebook and my father on a flip phone. I'm
Oh,
happy with
wow.
that.
That's something.
You know what though? For outside of two-factor authentication,
I can't. I need my dad off of Facebook.
I am happy because, and my biggest fear in life right now is my mother's best work friend is listening to the podcast, and I'm like, crap, I
Oh,
can't talk
great,
about my
yeah.
mother being an a-hole now because I'll tell you this: when you talk about being authentic, I won't make fun of my mom because my mom is a saint. My mother is real, and there's so much to make fun of. Like my mother in text messaging. My mother signs every text message.
Oh,
Like it's like it'll be
that's
like it'll be like, hey mom, I'm going to the beach. I'll be back in 3 hours. Okay, hope you have a great day. Dash mom.
Dish mom.
Mom, be there in 5. Okay, dash mom.
Oh,
And my,
I like
father's texting
that.
on T9. My father's still texting on the flip.
Beep, beep,
Yeah, so
beep,
like my
beep, beep.
father to say okay, it's beep 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 O. Beep, beep, K.
10 minutes.
And then I'm like, Dad, why don't you just text K?
K, yeah.
And he's like, I don't want to abbreviate. I'm like, Dad, okay is an abbreviation for OKAAY.
I can't.
You are
I
abbreviating.
can't. My
when you
dad
do that.
talks
brings up-
into the phone.
Tom brings up a very good point here, and I want to say this because of my wife here. It's now you don't make jokes that could offend your mother because she's a saint.
I don't make jokes about my mother.
Your mother, right?
Yeah, I do make jokes that offend my mother, and I did make fun of my grandparents for years. My Italian grandparents. If you see me do stand-up, folks, my Italian grandparents are still alive, even though they'd be 105 at this point.
I can't.
You know, I did 2 videos, and I was getting death threats on both of them. Yeah, and this is where
Jesus.
Yeah, what the?
Well, and listen, my big fear in
Whoa.
life is that not that someone beats me up, but that someone throws a brick through my parents' window instead. You know, because I'm open about Tom from Massapequa. That's my parents are gentle, they're older, blah blah blah. That's my only real fear, if I'm being human for a minute. But I did a clip in Massachusetts. A state trooper left his body camera on the toilet in the Dunkin' Donuts and drove off. And I now found his body camera. And I used the phrase, isn't it sad we make cops wear body cameras? What I meant to say was, isn't it inconvenient? Because I actually believe in body cameras for the cop and for the person. I'll tell you that story later. I want to start wearing a body camera. That's how much I believe in body cameras at this point. I want to wear a little hat with a GoPro on the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this rate.
But anyway, what do you know? Folks who believe in kinder policing, whatever word you want to use, start calling me a Mussolini bootlicker, you asshole, kissing the cop's
My
ass.
God.
Jesus.
And listen, I'm a believer in 90% of cops are heroes and 10% are dicks. Who like I feel the same way about cops that I do about priests.
Yeah.
But anyway, I happen to say, and I enjoyed the awkwardness of finding a body cam in the toilet. That
Yeah,
body
it's
cam
very
might have been
awkward,
pointing
yeah.
at my dick.
Yeah, exactly.
It was humorous. It was a new experience. And the hate mail I got on that from the liberals. And then on the other side, and this joke was written by a friend of Blake's, actually, who voted for Trump maybe twice and might have been in the Capitol on January 6th. And his line was, Massapequa is so conservative, they call it Massissippi, Magapequa, and Massalago. I basically did that, and all these people are like, if you don't like it, you fucking move, man.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
You can't
I
say
mean, icky.
anything. You
Icky.
can't joke about anything. You can't.
I think you can look past sometimes some of the jokes that don't work if you believe at the core of it that you're a good human being. And for me, I could say just with getting a short amount of time of getting to know you,
Yeah.
you're a good dude.
I'm a great dude.
You're a
I'm
good
going
dude.
to heaven.
You are.
You mean well. You're having a good time in life. You're out there doing what you love. I mean, God fucking bless you, man. It's great.
But, what's also different about comedy? You talked about Mel Brooks before. Mel Brooks did 20 years of comedy without anybody recording it before he did all the big movies. The hard part with everything going straight to an audience of 1 million is like, I'll tell a joke for 10 people, it won't work, and I won't do it again. Now you're doing it straight for a public audience.
Right.
Also in this age of everybody trying to get a Netflix special, everybody trying to go viral with crowd work, and everybody having a phone, there's what you lose to is sometimes what's funny in the room is not funny outside of the room. I made my living doing all those TV shows. I was the king of comedy in the room. And for whatever reason, maybe I don't have that it factor. Listen, there's a reason why I only have 36,000 followers and not 1 million. But there's something to be said about I am so hilarious one-on-one, being confident for a minute, but for whatever reason, that magic isn't going into that camera yet.
I get that.
Or how do you do it? I don't know.
Yep.
Or maybe I just have to find the right people. But there's something to be just, if I were giving you one last piece of advice, what's hilarious with the 5 of us, like I just helped a friend of mine run for office in a Republican guy who has a hero story. I helped him run for office in Queens. But he was from Breezy Point. And very Irish, and they still tell the story when my Irish father went in with my Italian mother, that was and is still diversity down there. And, I'm like, dude, you need to have an audience of a few people outside of the neighborhood to see if your work is you're doing well. Because, like right now, all my jokes are doing well at home. Your jokes are doing well at home. Now, maybe you need one never mind your wife. You need a trans, gay, black listener to sit in that empty chair, and every time they make a dirty face or something, all right, I won't tell that joke anymore.
Well, if there's any trans, gay, black listeners out there, please come on
down.
Come on down.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for having me, by the way.
Thanks for being here, man. It's nice to meet you. This is fun. How does everybody find you?
Listen, it's Tom Kelly Show on Facebook, Tom Kelly Show on Instagram, Tom Kelly Show on TikTok. My passion project is my once-a-week podcast /YouTube, Tom Kelly Show. I'm also on Venmo as Tom Kelly Show. I'm on Black People Meet as Tom Kelly Show, but I am catfishing there. I'm also on JDate as Tom Kelly Show, and I'm on all the major dating apps, hoping that Ashley over here gives me a couple of good leads. And I will
6'5" woman, yeah.
Game on. I will pull up the picture. Pull up the picture.
I will right now.
Any shows coming up that I want to come see?
You know what? I am at. Actually, I'm in a movie. Actually, I got to leave here at noon. I'm in a movie in the New York Comedy Festival.
My friend just did something for New York Comedy Festival.
What? Tell me about it while I look up my own dates.
Chris DiStefano.
Oh, so how are you friends with DiStefano, and how do you introduce me to him?
Oh, I can introduce you to him anytime. I've been friends with him for like over 10 years.
He and I kicked Lindsay Lohan's ass back at the Northport Theater.
Yeah, he's a great guy. So I saw him this week. I can definitely. I'll hook you guys
he
up.
knows. He vaguely knows who I am, and
I'm
I
best
need to get him on my
with
podcast.
Tim Dillon's cousin too.
You and the cousins.
Yeah,
you and the friends of the cousins and the friends.
I have a lot of people. Yeah.
How is he supposed to know your cousin?
You never know.
If you say that to Tim Dillon, and Tim Dillon doesn't know who your cousin is, will you kick his ass the way you kicked Lindsay Lohan's ass?
I may be very
She fucking knows everybody. It's incredible.
Well, or knows everybody's cousin.
I got a big mouth. What can I say?
She's very excited. I want to say in the future, there's a good chance she's very excited. Finally, Hanson reached out.
For this?
Yeah. Hanson has a beer. They make beer now. And they have hop.
Yes!
So
the jingle is written.
Yes.
She's very excited about it. They want to come. I think we need to do a beer collab with Harbor Head and Hanson. We call it Head.
I think I cried in the shower for 30 minutes yesterday.
She was so excited.
By the way, Head, right on the line. That's a bullseye for comedy.
Head.
Yeah.
Because like it's funny for me, and my mother wouldn't understand it.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Write that in the book.
Write that in the book. I'm talking too much. Thank you, guys.
Tom, thanks, man. God bless you. If you guys like what you hear, fucking like it. Share it. That's it. Tom Kelly, God bless you.
God bless you, my friend.
Thank you so much.
Peace.